3 o'clock hour. We didn't even mention, I was watching on ESPN right now, Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Browns. A lot going on. Super Bowl. I mean, Jimmy really is the big story, but I don't think anyone feels like talking about anything but Luka right now. It's one of the most seismic trades that you will ever see, especially because you didn't see it coming. I mean,
No.
I just didn't see it coming at all.
Oh, and this isn't out of anger for Jimmy's departure, but when Shaq went to LA, that was league changing. The big three down here, league changing acquisitions. Jimmy going to Phoenix is not, the West is now one.
No, it's a story
Jimmy's going
for
to
us.
Phoenix.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah.
It's a story. It is a story for us. It wouldn't, especially because it's Super Bowl week. I don't know where Jimmy Butler being traded to Phoenix would fall on the national news meter. It ain't going to be that high. And based on what I'm seeing here, Jimmy's not in the echelon of the people that we're talking about who are getting traded. So I don't see anything coming back in return that's going to move the needle on that. But down here, I mean, Will brought it up in the last segment. We're 3 days away from facing a really interesting scenario for the Miami Heat, which is no one blinked. He's still on the team. And by the way, could still opt in next season for over $50 million. So we're 3 days away from an unprecedented Miami Heat scenario. It's one thing to tell James Johnson to go home because you're fat. It's another thing to try to figure out what to do with $50 million Jimmy Butler when he does not want to be on your team, but you are obligated to have him there.
They thought Jimmy wasn't going Jimmy, and Jimmy jimmied.
Jimmy jimmied. No. Jimmy jimmied. Solani, got a little cat talk for us here?
I sure do, Hawk.
Cat talk.
Wow, wow, wow.
Did anybody see, by the way, the start of the Panthers? Crap. Lost my headphones.
Uh-oh.
Talk amongst yourselves.
You good over there?
We can still hear you.
All right, I'm back. How'd that go?
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
It was exhilarating.
Did anyone see the start of the Blackhawks-Panthers game on Saturday afternoon?
No,
I did.
Something fun happened?
Yeah. Blackhawks scored 7 seconds into the game. Mm-hmm. Their quickest goal in history. And the Blackhawks are part of the original 6, I believe, right?
They are.
Are they?
Wow.
Yeah, it's the Boston Bruins. It's the Detroit Red Wings. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's the Chicago Blackhawks. And I don't know. I'm making all that up. I'm not entirely sure.
I know. Shouldn't we be able to know the original? Like, shouldn't we be able to name as a sports show the original 6?
Bruins.
Bruins, yes.
The Canadians.
Montreal.
Well, you said Toronto.
Maple Leafs.
Maple Leafs.
All right.
Bruins. Blackhawks, Red Wings, and Rangers.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Did you get them all? You didn't get them all, did you?
Oh, I wasn't done yet, but yeah, I got 5 out of 6.
But you said you were making it up.
Yeah, but I felt good about those answers. I really did.
I thought I would have for sure thought the St. Louis Blues, and I don't know why, but I thought they were part of the original 6.
No.
Huh. Well, the Blackhawks, one of the original 6 teams, scored their fastest goal in history against the Panthers to open the game on Saturday.
Bob wasn't ready. He wasn't down.
He was not ready. He was ready after that. They went on to win. Go ahead. Give us your cat talk, Solana. I don't even think you mentioned the sponsor. I jumped right in there.
They're sponsored by Hollywood Kia, or it's sponsored by Hollywood Kia. Tackle game-winning deals during the handoff drive-off event at Hollywood Kia. Visit online, hollywoodkia.com for amazing new deals. So they go 2-0. Oxright, they get scored on immediately. But then the Panthers crushed the Blackhawks the rest of the game, like dominated them, not from start to finish, but after 7 seconds to finish. And they were on national TV, too, because who's on the Blackhawks? Connor Bedard? Isn't that who it is?
Yeah.
They won 5-1. They beat the Islanders 6-3 yesterday, so they go 2-0 over the weekend. They're now atop the Atlantic Division once again. They're in first place. And the Florida Panthers will be back in action tomorrow. They got the Capitals. They're going to be in the nation's capital at 7 p.m.
All right. Very good. Do headlines here, I guess, and then we can get into, because we got to juggle between Luka and Super Bowl week, because it is Super Bowl week. And Josh Appel is going to be in New Orleans for us. He will be on Radio Row Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So he'll be joining us from there. Zach Gelb is out there. He'll join us Wednesday from Radio Row, the Infinity Sports booth there. Are you still going to New Orleans, Crowder?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow night.
All right.
After
Crowder
the show.
will be up in New Orleans as well. And we will have plenty of coverage. So we got to juggle the Super Bowl and Luka and still keeping an eye on Jimmy Butler. We'll do headlines brought to you by Durrell Volkswagen. Choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock, like the Tiguan, Taos, and Atlas. And remember, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Durrell Volkswagen.
So Luka Doncic is now a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. Here's the full trade. Luka, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. He's the better of the two Morris brothers.
Which one did we get?
Markieff.
We had Markieff.
I'm sorry. Marcus Morris is the better of the two Morris brothers. We had Markieff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who got pushed in the back and missed 17 years?
That was him. It was Jokic.
Markieff Morris. The Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 Los Angeles Lakers first-round pick. And the Utah Jazz get Jalen Hood-Schifino, who was drafted, I think, right before Jaime Jaquez Jr. or right after Jaime Jaquez Jr., one or the other. A 2025 Clippers second-round pick, and the Mavericks 2025 second-round pick. I was just reading here on ESPN. It looks like Danny Ainge, who's the general manager of the Utah Jazz, who they helped facilitate this trade, even though they didn't really give up anything. All they got second-round picks, and they got a young player. And it sounds like Danny Ainge did not know until about 30 minutes before
That's what they were part of?
What the trade was actually centered around.
Wild.
And at that point, he didn't really have anything to do. He couldn't stop the trade at that point, but he didn't know
he had agreed to their portion of it.
Correct. He didn't know that the trade was for Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis. And if you remember, Danny Ainge, a lifelong Celtics guy, played there, won titles there, and then was the team president, I believe, for a while. He literally helped facilitate, Danny Ainge helped facilitate a trade for the Los Angeles Lakers to get a superstar, which I can't imagine he was thrilled about once he found out what actually ended up transpiring in that trade.
I'm telling you, this thing, no one knew that he was available, because there are people texting us going, how do you know that they didn't negotiate with other teams? Because word would have gotten out. Word,
Nico Harrison,
100% would have gotten out.
No, the general manager has already talked about this. He's been extremely vocal. He said, no, the only team I talked to was the Los Angeles Lakers. He's the one who said it. He's the one getting in front of a microphone and revealing stuff he doesn't have to reveal.
Well, and again, though, we would have known. We know what's going on with Jimmy Butler, that Golden State. There's sources on all this stuff. If he was offered to more than one team, word would have spread like wildfire that Luka Doncic was being shopped.
I learned something.
I think you're onto something, Crowder, though, because you said it to Will. I think you're onto something. I think the brain trust in Dallas got together, said, who is our dream acquisition right now in the NBA? And maybe they go, okay, Victor Wembanyama. And they go, is there any scenario where we could see getting him? No, he's young. They're not no. Okay, you cross them off the list. And maybe they get to Anthony Davis and they say, there is a scenario where we could get him. And then they go, okay, he's our dream target. What exactly are we willing to give up to get him? are we willing to give up Luka?
Yeah.
And they go around the room and it's like, yes, I am. That's how much. And maybe it was that simple where they go down the list and they go, that's the guy. You know, it's almost like the draft board where they go, okay, here's the 3 best available, and whoever is available to us, we're picking them. Maybe they did that. And maybe for whatever reason, they designated Anthony Davis as that dude.
Yeah. And the fact that I think it's the other way, though. They know Luka wasn't going to sign it. Something has to come out about that side of it, too. But then now you go down and say, if we're getting rid of Luka, name your top 10 players.
You're right. You know what? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's reverse. Hey,
Yeah.
we're not going to retain Luka's services after next season. We can all agree in this room. He is going to demand $345 or whatever he's due to get. We don't like the way things are headed with him, with conditioning and availability. So he's not long for this team. So let's make a list of guys that we would take in exchange for him and see which one might be the most realistic.
Yeah. And then
Because,
to make that quick.
because we're not going to sit here a year and a half from now and say we got nothing for Luka. And we're not going to be held over a barrel by him when he's got all the leverage and end up doing something that we're not comfortable doing. So what can we tolerate right now as an acceptable return?
And to look at the contract, now I got it pulled up, the Mavs salaries. Kyrie is locked in. He has a player option next year. Clay is puppy money. He's $16 million a year. PJ's 14, 9. Like Max Christie's 7. They don't have a lot of big time contracts out there. And if you can't keep Luka, let's see if Kyrie will stay here and play with Anthony Davis. That looks like they're playing. I can't say it's smart, but if you're not going to keep Luka, you get an AD back for him. The hell with it.
But guys, I'm sorry. I understand the scenario you put out there, Hawk, where they're saying, okay, because he was very adamant about defense and how much he believes defense is the difference between him winning a title or not winning a title. And they went out and they got one of the better interior defenders in the NBA. Anthony Davis is one defensive player of the year. Like, okay, I can get that, right? However, think about Nico Harrison's tenure in Dallas. Couldn't keep Jalen Brunson. They had Kristaps Porzingis, who had a long history of injury history as well. I get it, but he's gone. And now he just traded a superstar player, the likes of which that franchise probably thought they were never going to have again after Dirk Nowitzki left. I mean, look at the Miami Heat. Dwayne Wade retires, and Jimmy Butler was great here, but he's not Dwayne Wade, right? Like, franchises don't get Luka Doncic after Dirk Nowitzki retires. It doesn't happen. Like, it just doesn't happen.
But I'm not arguing for it to have happened. I'm saying what transpired for that to happen.
But I'm saying whoever owns the Dallas Mavericks has to be saying, do we have the right guy calling the shots right now? Because 3 years ago we had Jalen Brunson, we had Luka Doncic,
right?
And we had Kristaps
Totally
Porzingis.
Different question. But the thing is, there you won't have the answer for a couple of years. You can't make that determination now. Like, yes, you should have kept Jalen Brunson, but that was a different regime because it was Mark Cuban.
And I'm not arguing for Nico. Hell, like you're like, I've seen why they're putting out pictures of all the mess ups he did. Who's running the Heat organization? Because Jimmy Butler can opt into $52 million. Jimmy just got disgruntled, and now Jimmy's acting up. That's why we've said all show there has to be something emotionally attached to this with them not bringing him back and saying to what you're talking about, Solana. We know that we're not giving him $350. He has 1 year left. He wants Supermax. He's not happy. We're not happy. Whichever way it went, we know we're not giving him Supermax. Now we have to figure out how to find some assets off of Luka because we know how good he is, and that's when they decided more on AD.
But if I'm the ownership, whoever it is, because I know Mark Cuban,
it's the Adelsons, who are big Republican donors. The Adelsons bought Mark Cuban's most of the share.
I mean, don't you prioritize? Because I understand it from
I would. There's no scenario that I'm giving up 25-year-old Luka Doncic. There's no scenario unless, Victor Wembanyama. Like, okay, you want to go straight up for someone who's making less money? Sure.
The Miami Heat have allowed Pat Riley to run things the way that he wants to run. But Pat Riley, and I know some people disagree, but he's earned that right. He's earned that reputation around the league where he's bigger and his presence is bigger than any one person, right? And it cost them Dwayne Wade. It might have cost them LeBron James. And right now, it might be costing them Jimmy Butler, even though he's not on the same level as those guys. But what the hell has Nico Harrison done? That's my question here, where the Mavericks ownership is saying, hold on, we just allowed a general manager who's won nothing.
But they've signed off on it. He doesn't make that. He does not make that move in independent of ownership signing off on that.
Nico's
I agree, but that's my question. Like
Nico's not what's happening. Rob Pelinka at night under his table. Hey man, right. I got Luka.
That one goes through all the channels of ownership.
Well, they're making a horrible decision by doing that.
We think now crazier things have happened. Someone just texted in Bill Zito's famous quote, which is trade them a year early, not a year late. Mm-hmm. If they know that he is not going to be part of that team after next season, and next season he will control all the strings because he can say, I'm not signing an extension there. He can make it difficult. If they know that that's the case, because I would submit to you, and again, Jimmy Butler is not on the level of Luka Doncic, but I would submit to you, if the Heat could do it over again, they'd have traded him last season.
Mm-hmm.
The market value was higher, and there were no headaches. So that again, that to me is, when you talk about the ownership, like I'm imagining Nico Harrison sitting in a meeting with them and going, I am telling you from our dealings, he is not going to be on this team. He's too demanding. We've tried. We've gotten close with him, but we cannot win a championship. We can't add enough to make it that we think we'll have a championship team. Like, obviously, I'm telling you, on a generational player, you don't do that independent of the owners signing off on it.
And Solana, to that conversation, you're a basketball dude. You're sitting in that room, and they say, Alejandro, does Luka, Kyrie, Klebe, whatever the hell his name, like, you look at that roster, you're the GM. Is this a championship team? Do we go out and give him $350 million because we're going to run this back with this team that we have right now? Can they win the West and beat up on the Celtics or the Bucks or whoever else? Damn, Knicks are good now.
No, I get it. And maybe right now they're not, but they were in the NBA Finals a year ago. They're a lot closer than literally 28 other teams.
Could have given Tim Hardaway Jr. more minutes, but that's a whole other story.
And Crowder, even if with this window you're not, this is the part that is crazy to me. You just traded for Anthony Davis, who, by the way, to his credit, this year has been more available. This year. That could change. He could roll his ankle tomorrow in warmups, and that's it, right? But your window now with Kyrie Irving, who's 30+, Anthony Davis, who's 32, and Klay Thompson.
Anthony Davis is only 32?
He's 32.
He was like 35.
No, he's 32.
How old's Kyrie?
33, I believe. 32, 33. Yeah, he's 32 years old, Kyrie. But he turns 33 in March.
Yeah, puppies.
They're not.
They're younger than I thought
They're not. LeBron has distorted our reality because right. But your window now is okay, even if this team ends up being great, right? And I still don't get it because they have Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, who they traded for last year, and now you bring in another center. So I still don't understand the dynamic at play, but fine. You have a 2-year window. With Luka, you have a 10-year window because guys want to come play with Luka.
I don't know anyone arguing for it. I'm with you. I wouldn't again, there's no scenarios that I'm getting rid of Luka. And he's beloved by the community and like he likes Dallas. I do not get it.
You stymied me an hour ago when you asked would I trade Bam and Tyler for Luka. And I couldn't just flat out say no.
And picks.
I think I'm leaning towards yes.
And I'm telling you right now,
I would.
That's not even a top 10 trade
Package.
that gets sent to them.
I know.
Hawk, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You think I understand he's great. He's won a title. You think if the Bucks got a call and say, "Hey, would you be interested
I think
in
they
trading
trade
Giannis
him.
for Luka?"
I think they trade him.
They're at least sitting down, getting everybody together, and trying to map it out. Okay, is Giannis going to stay here? Like you at least have the conversation for Giannis.
Well,
And they got one first-round pick for a 32-year-old who doesn't play more than 60 games a season. Bro, it is the worst trade in NBA history easily. No, I know.
We think there is a scenario where it's not.
Where Kyrie and AD ball out in the West.
Yeah, and they win a championship.
So if they win one ring,
literally,
if they win one ring, that's it?
Yes, I think if they win a ring in the next 2 seasons, they had how many seasons with Luka? 5?
5 or 6, 2018 to 2025. So
they have any rings?
No.
If they win a ring with AD and Kyrie in the next 2 seasons, then I don't think you can throw cold water on the trade. I think that's the only scenario, though.
But Hawk, even if they win a ring, right? Even if they do,
that would be tough to say that they didn't make a good trade if they get a championship out of it.
But Hawk, this isn't the NFL, right? Like in the NFL, you win one ring and you're good for 20 years. You've built up good faith with your fan base, right? Even in hockey, the Panthers were the laughing stock of the NHL for 20 years. They won that one ring, and Zito and the Panthers are good. We're talking about the NBA where you have a generational talent who's 25. He might not even be in his prime, and even if you win one, you could have over 10 more years built 3 different cores and competed.
Maybe, but based on the info that they have right now, I mean. Again, I'm not arguing for the trade because I think there's a clear winner and a clear loser. But right now, I can tell you that AD has been part of a championship team and Luka has never.
Salam, if you had to bet your life savings in 10 years, Luka guaranteed has a championship or Luka doesn't win a championship, which side would you go on? And he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the MVP race for the next 7 years. But if you had to put your hard-earned money on he's going to be a guaranteed champion or he might not win, I'm going with the might not win because there's 29 of the team trying to get that title every year.
And we've seen them have really good teams. They had a really good team last season.
And they got there and they lost.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that's the scenario. If I'm Nico Harrison and they go, you what did you do? And he says to you, I'll tell you what I did. I took 6 years of data that showed me I was not going to win a championship with Luka, and I have rolled it into a package that I believe gets us a championship in the next 2 seasons. Who's with me?
We're out.
Or you just got rid of the guy who was going to be the greatest player in your franchise's history. And that's saying something with Dirk, that would have kept you in conversations for free agents and title contention for the next 10 years.
Right. But on the other side, and again, I'm just arguing just for the sake of arguing.
I know.
I would not have gotten rid of him. But for the sake of arguing, you can look at it like owning stocks. Hey, this stock is really high right now. Could cash it out. Yeah, but if I hold on to it, I've got the potential to cash out 10 years from now, or over the course of the next 10 years. But you don't know when it falls off a cliff. Very rarely do you guess right trying to guess a high or a low. But more often than not, people hold on to stuff too long.
And I would still say there's something emotional or personal about them getting rid of Luka. This isn't an analytic thing.
I 100% believe that. If they loved him, they're not even considering it. There's something going on behind the scenes.
Does anybody care about the De'Aaron Fox trade now?
No.
Who did they give up for him? Because the Spurs were good.
the Spurs. So the Kings ended up with Zach LaVine because the Bulls were part of this trade. And
That's how I knew about the trade, because DJ called me because Zach LaVine was on the Bulls.
Hawk, the Bulls gave up DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Alex Caruso and didn't get a first-round pick back. I mean, you want to talk about
they can't get rid of Vooch. Whatever they do, they can't get rid of Vooch. What a disaster they've been.
They go sneak him in Zach LaVine's briefcase and just tell him go to work.
I mean, they would do anything right now for someone to take Vooch.
The Spurs got De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings got Zach LaVine, Side Sissoko, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks. And the Bulls got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Werder. But the most important part for the Bulls, no joke, was that they got their own 2025 first-round pick back from San Antonio. I'll leave you guys with this. According to Jake Fisher, who covers the NBA,
You're leaving?
the Phoenix... Huh?
You said you'll leave us with this. I didn't know you were leaving.
It's 3:30, killer.
This guy works as much as Luka.
The Phoenix Suns have been listening to trade offers for Kevin Durant. That's according to Jake Fisher. And apparently KD knows about it. Not that they're interested in trading him, but they have listened to trade offers for Kevin Durant. And Bradley Beal, according to Jake Fisher, reportedly prefers to stay in Phoenix and not uproot his family again.
I don't know. I saw some scenario by a reporter about LeBron being traded to Golden State, but that LeBron is not willing to waive his no trade clause at this moment. But I kind of feel like he could have been cajoled to do that, but not with Luka on arrival.
I'm gonna ride this out.
Who would you rather play with if you're LeBron right now? You've lost AD. Who would you rather play with? Luka in LA or Steph Curry in Golden State?
Oh, it'd have to be Luka because the playing style. Luka can go take a game over. LeBron can't do that anymore. Steph is long in the tooth as well. I'm picking a young guy.
That's what I think. I think if you had, because he could do both. Like he could say, "Yeah, I want to go to Golden State." I think I would stay and play with Luka.
And if he goes to Golden State, how many minutes does Bronny get a night?
I saw someone else tweet out, like, I cannot believe the Lakers were able to make this trade without including Bronny.
he was getting dop. I was watching some game they played him. Oh, they were running around him like a traffic cone.
I don't know. I think it's a deeper conversation. Does LeBron want to play there now that they traded for his replacement? Genuinely, I think. I'm not saying he doesn't, and I think
knows he's 41 or 42, however old he is. Like,
but they're the same player, Luka and LeBron. If you really think about it, LeBron's better, but lifetime, right? But they're the same guy. They need the ball in their hands. They're playmakers. Like they're the same guy. Like, can they coexist on the floor together in a 7-game series? I don't know. Maybe LeBron has played with everybody.
I mean, if LeBron coexisted with D Wade and Chris Bosh in the scenario where, hey, even the first season we know being probably too giving, I think he could at the end of his career. He wants to win another ring. I think he's closer to winning another ring with Luka than just about anybody else. I mean, he won one with AD, so it's hard to say that. Yeah. But for whatever reason, they've kind of been an also ran.
But that was a thing where AD could take over when LeBron didn't want to, he couldn't go out there and give him 45. Like AD could do it. Now Luka can go do it. LeBron can stand there in that little elbow and shoot his little 3-pointers that he likes to shoot all the time and take over when he wants. He can still cross-hand dunk and all that, but he can't do that 82 times.
Where's Tim Hardaway Jr.?
If you bring –
because he might be the missing piece. Might be the missing piece.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Does anybody
Max
want
Vucevic?
Anyone interested in Vucevic?
That's Sylvie's show for the past week.
Max
Bronny
Kleber.
for Vooch. Who says no?
No Kleber in there. Tired of him too.
Bro, you know what? If I'm any NBA general manager, I'm just sending the dumbest trade possible to the Mavericks. See if they'll bite. Anything.
Well, just send him out to everybody. Like maybe, like, it becomes like this feeding frenzy of idiocy that happens. Like, sure, why not?
Shoot this to Nico. He knew he don't know what he's doing. Shoot this
There's
to Nico.
ever a chance to move Vooch, it's in the next 48 hours.
Shoot this to Nico.
I'm gonna get a message to the Bulls.
If I'm Pelinka, just for bleeps, I send Gabe Vincent for Kyrie Irving straight up.
By the way, 100%. I am now 100% certain the Heat end up with Vooch. Just so Solana can make a montage.
They got a hell of a front court.
Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns.
He's wasting up his career, honestly.
In Cleveland.
Yeah, he's a Hall.
Yeah.
He's one of the best defensive players I've ever watched in my life, and they're just terrible. Yeah.
Your weather from the Demesman and Dover Law Firm. Call them 866-954-MORE, youraccidentattorneys.com. Free consultations 24/7. Partly cloudy in South Florida. Tonight, the lows will be in the low 70s. That is your weather.
All right. We will keep talking about Vucevic on first day of Super Bowl week next.
Y'all got the big game.
I don't even know his name. What's his first? Why am I blanking on his first name? Oh,
Nikola.
Jonas?
No, Nikola Vucevic.
Nikola?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that. I'm not certain.
Man, go watch Vucevic. It's Nikola.
Nikola Vucevic.
I looked it up during the segment because y'all bring people up. I don't know who the hell they are. I be trying to look up and see who
I was just thinking of Jonas Valanciunas, I think is what I was thinking of with the Jonas.
Yeah. Just saw him.